Hello and welcome to my thoughts on Accord. If you haven't read it yet, you can click here and I'll read it for you. Alright, everyone ready? Let's go. So, the girls and Spike are off to see some super special star stuff, and then out of nowhere, poof comes Discord. You know, like he does. He's just having a grand old time being himself, and then Applejack just gets really hostile. Like, holy shit, calm down. So then Discord runs off crying, and then there's maybe a meteor, maybe it was just there the whole time, but there's a glowing rock. It's pretty vague. So Twilight takes it back to her castle, and I slightly edited this panel. It showed Twilight using blue magic for some reason, so I changed it. Then the rock explodes and bam, that's no rock, it's a Discord! But actually, that's not Discord either, it's his opposite, who Twilight names Accord. And then Fluttershy gets sad. Also, with the appearance of the Discord egg in Accord, we start the Pinkie Pie sniff arc, which is fantastic. So, the next day, the girls decide to walk around Ponyville to get to know the new and improved Discord, which immediately raises some red flags with Starlight. And by the end of the day, Accord manages to win over most of the ponies, with Pinkie Pie being neutral, and Fluttershy and Starlight still on Team Discord. And it's nice that Fluttershy's not alone in this. She could really use the backup for once. So Starlight voices her concerns to Twilight and references the Cutie Map episode, which, won't be the last time it's referenced. God, I love flashing back to the same moment over and over again. It's my favorite thing in the world. Wow, Itachi, you nailed every target. Even the one in the blind spot behind the rock. Yes, I know, Sasuke, I've seen it 16 times. Anyway, so Twilight's all like, nah, he's fine. And then Starlight goes to bed. Hold on. Before I get too far, Accord totally teleports here, right? Right? Even though later he says he just learned to teleport, But anyway, now it's the next day. Twilight's eating some cereal and drinking out of a sweet mug. Which, I mean, mine's better, but that one's still pretty cool. And she and Accord get invited to a birthday party. Wait, why did I say birthday party? Alright, to a dinner with the princesses. I'm not gonna cut that. And at the dinner, Starlight pushes too hard, and now Accord is evil. Good job, Starlight. I really like the shot of him inhaling the fire. That's pretty cool. Oh, and also, I made a minor edit here, just because when I was doing the sound effects, I shattered the wine glass, but it didn't actually shatter. So I shattered it, which was much more work than just removing the sound effect. But damn if it didn't add to the emotional impact. I don't regret my choices. And that's the end of part 1. So it sets up that Starlight is going to be the main driving force behind getting Discord back, you know, with the constant references to her village. And one would also assume Fluttershy would also be a great asset in restoring Discord. But hell no! We're taking the road less traveled today, no Fluttershy Discord moments here. And now begins part 2, where Twilight has a master plan to defeat Accord. She and Luna are going to go inside his brain, while everyone else runs around the city. Celestia kisses Luna and the two of them are off. So part 2 kind of falls victim to its status as the middle issue. Not much happens. Twilight and Luna are walking around for a bit, and then Celestia and everyone else are running around for a bit, talking to Accord. Like, do I really need to go through it all? Not that nothing important happens in part 2, it's just very few and far between. Twilight and Luna find a piece of Discord that's still left in his mind, and he says they have to make Accord want to change back. It shows that Accord is using some kind of expanding magic field to convert ponies who touch it, and Pinkie Pie sniffs it. And also, he's not just altering ponies' minds, he's straight up becoming part of them. And he also plants seeds of doubt into Celestia. And that is literally everything that happens in part 2. And then we cliffhanger with Twilight and Luna being controlled by Accord, unfortunately not being able to pass off the valuable information they learned, making their trip into his mind pointless. And I mean, from their point of view, they failed the mission, but it's still useful knowledge from the reader's point of view. I don't know how to feel. It was just a really casual experience. Not that that's bad, but it just doesn't feel like it should be a casual experience based on the events that are happening. I don't know. The scene where Twilight hugs Discord is pretty cute though, But before we go on to part 3, I just want to point out that I made an edit here, because lol, Rarity can't teleport, hello? And now, it's time to find out how we get our good Chaos Boy back as we move on to part 3, which starts with a monkey. Good spell, Starlight. Which was also colored blue, so I recolored it cyan. And I didn't do this just to be nitpicky, but I had already recolored Starlight's magic to be cyan in part 2 when I changed the teleporting thing from Rarity, so I kinda had to. But that Twilight edit in part 1, that was to be nitpicky. Now, after seeing the 2 ponies she cares most about fall to accord, the confidence Celestia showed in part 2 has turned to despair. So now, the only way Starlight can bring her back to her senses is to reminisce with more flashbacks, let's go! And you know, I get it. It's the 50th issue, and they gotta call back to all the journeys they went on. Going back to evil Celestia and Luna makes sense. Going to evil Rarity, sure, yeah, let's talk about all the evil opposites, but why are we talking about Starlight's Village again? Actually, now that I think about it, flashbacks are the exact same way Twilight beat Discord in Season 2. So you know what, maybe Starlight's onto something. And for those of you who are wondering how I did that thing with the window, this thing right here, it's on screen now, I just cut this part out and put it there. Easy. Alright, so the girls get off the train and go talk to Mare for no reason, it's just a waste of time. And then the girls go to the castle while Celestia goes to the Tree of Harmony. I like Pinkie Pie's freakout. It was nice, well-timed, comedic relief from all those wretched flashbacks. Poor Spike, no one tells him anything. And you know, at least he had a line in part 1 and another in part 3. That's more than he usually gets. So Celestia is gambling on whether she can actually use the elements. I'm pretty sure she can't, but it doesn't matter because Accord messed with them anyway. So Accord tries to explain away why he couldn't get them earlier. Come on guys, he just couldn't teleport before. He just learned, give him some slack. In the same vein, where do you think he went when he poofed away in part 1? And how did he get to Canterlot? So the elements vroom up in Kazap. And now all of Ponyville is under Accord's control. Good job, guys. And Starlight apparently puts up a shield. It didn't show her, but Accord said she did, so I don't know. So I just put one in. I'm glad they used the classic anime. Powerful attack goes, hits the enemy, giant smokescreen, but enemy still standing unscathed. That's a good trope. And this Element of Harmony scene just gives me some good Season 2 Discord vibes.
I'm prepared to be defeated now, ladies. Fire when ready.
Good reference. I'm a little disappointed that Accord just so blatantly used magic against Fluttershy. Come on, Discord, you couldn't even protect her. What are you doing, man? And now, the final showdown between Starlight and Accord begins. It's actually really interesting that Starlight doesn't even try to fight him. It's kind of out of her character, but at the same time, it might just be so obviously apparent that she's outclassed. And props to Starlight for coming to the same conclusion that Discord did. The only way she can stop him is to convince him to change back. Accord tries his best to convince Starlight, but all he ends up doing is reinforcing her argument. Those ponies are totally not his friends. But with the power of flashbacks and references, Starlight is able to convince Accord to change back into Discord. That was a bit of a meme, but honestly, they're handled pretty well here. Like, they're clearly not being used here to re-explain things that have already happened. They're simply here to improve her argument. I also really like that Starlight says, "It'd be like being friends with a mirror," while looking at a picture of sunsets. That's a good reference. But also at the same time, why did she look at a picture of Zecora? Zecora's just actually in the castle. Because I mean, in the next panel over, they show Sweetie drops Bonbon, but no, we can't get real Zecora, we have to get picture Zecora. But Starlight actually makes a really good argument. Like, I'm definitely impressed. My only real problem with her monologue is right at the end. She says, "Harmony is many different notes coming together to make something greater. We need those different notes to make something beautiful." I found it too repetitive, so I cut the first one down. And pew, out comes Discord with pizza and characters not seen in 16 pages. That's a nice detail. And for some reason they make the same joke twice. Finally, I can blink. Ow, it hurts to smile. Maybe a little too much, but oh well. And after all the terrible stuff Discord had to go through in the beginning, you know what? It's good to see him get some love at the end. And thus concludes Accord. The premise was definitely interesting. Part 1 did a really good job setting up Accord's character, as well as portraying why Discord might think it would be better that way. Looking at you, Applejack. My main issues with the series, lies in the middle. And I don't just mean part 2, I mean more of the latter half of part 2 and the first half of part 3. So part 2, we spend half the issue in Accord's mind. And don't get me wrong, she has a nice talk with Discord, but that only covers half of the time spent in Accord's mind. The other half is just setting the scene. Did it really need to take that long to set the scene? I don't know. And the moments with Celestia are kind of boring. We do have a little chat with Accord, but mostly just running around from ponies and then evacuating. I don't know. It didn't really land for me. The talk with Accord is good though, as it makes Celestia question if he's actually doing a bad thing. And then we go into part 3, and the whole Luna and Twilight getting converted thing kinda seems like a big deal, and it is a big deal to Celestia, but unfortunately the story's not about Celestia, so in the grand scheme it didn't really matter. And that's like kinda weird, because part 2 is very Celestia focused, and the train is very Celestia focused. But turns out, Celestia's emotions are just a vehicle for Starlight. So when we get to the end and it's all about Starlight versus Accord, it just feels off. Because Celestia seemed just as important as Starlight did. But in the end, she didn't even matter. And the train ride. Oh boy, the train ride. We spend 4 whole pages on the flashback train. It's a little much. And then we get off the train and talk to Mare, and that's just like another flashback in itself. We already know the plot of this story. You don't gotta tell Mare it. But at least it does have a solid ending. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until next time.